Welcome back to Building Together.
For this video, we went out and spent our own money on LEGO's new interpretation of Rivendell. But instead of the usual rambling video and review you see on other channels, and this one, we're going to do something different. We're going to tell you the 3 most important things about this set.
And it all finishes with what we think LEGO could have done to make it a less expensive set.
The first thing to know about this set is that it is full of details. For $500, you would expect there to be quite a few Easter eggs and refined builds throughout, but the set designers, all 3 of them, seem to leave no stone unturned.
This is apparent from the start of the build, as you construct the tower on the left, which is part of Elrond's living quarters on the first level, and Frodo's room on the second. The furniture in that room allows you to depict the scenes of Frodo's recovery from being stabbed by the Witch King at Weathertop, as well as Bilbo giving him the mithril shirt.
On the front of the tower are 5 statues, hearkening to an older section of Rivendell, built during Middle-earth's Second Age. Behind those is a cleverly built bookshelf and table. As you build this section, you get the distinct impression that everything, every mini-build, piece, is placed for a reason.
Elvish art adorns the walls of this section, as well as Elrond's library. From Isildur defeating Sauron, to an Elvish city, to Celebrimbor forging the Rings of Power, these murals and paintings are easily overlooked in the movie, but stand out in the LEGO set.
Even the floor pattern of Elrond's library is something I never paid attention to in the films, but impressed me as I built it. There's even a little spot in the undergrowth from which Sam can emerge from hiding when Frodo declares that he will take the ring to Mordor.
The council circle is creatively constructed and has the compass in the middle that accurately represents that scene in the movie. Behind Elrond's chair is a large tree, just like in the movie, and the open arches and pillars do an excellent job of replicating the elven architecture.
And let's not forget the roof. It looks gorgeous once you get all the tiles organized at the correct angle, which is aided by a tip to run a plate through the gaps to align everything. These tiles were a bit tedious to place, but are a major detail that should be included.
There are more subtle details to the right of the council ring, such as the white birds partially obscured in the main entrance arch, a white bench behind a tree where Bilbo and Frodo reunite in the movie, and a meticulously crafted stream with a waterfall separating the main structure from the gazebo section.
The latter of which also has a ton of details included, such as the armory underneath the gazebo, an arched bridge, and multiple trees. When all is said and done, this set represents its subject matter very well and lacks little in terms of details.
What about the minifigs?
Oh, yeah, wow, we haven't even mentioned those. 15 minifigs, including the entire Fellowship, Elrond, Arwen, an old dwarf that the set designers insist isn't Gimli, and some elves are all redesigned for this set.
And I like how they add pieces to the set that allow Frodo, Bilbo, Gandalf, and Elrond to sit down at the council. Plus, you get redesigns of the key weapons and a broken sword for the Shards of Narsil.
Exactly. The set designers noted that the old mold for Sting was lost, so a new one was required. And Mike Sayaki, one of the set designers, made a joke in an interview about freezing a sword to negative 75 degrees Celsius so they could drop it and break it to get something that looks like the shards.
Those details make this set an incredible display piece, but those building techniques really allow them to pop.
Exactly. That's why the second most important thing about this set is the inclusion of so many advanced building techniques. There are too many advanced builds to list them all here, but my favorites are the use of toilet seats in the gazebo, along with the super complex build for its platform. In one interview, the set designers noted how this was the last part of the set to come together, and it was difficult to make it strong.
Perhaps my favorite building technique is using dinosaur tail pieces as arched doorways on the left side of the set. They settle into their slots perfectly, so that as you push them in, it gives you a very satisfying feeling. The arches come together so smoothly with the inverted slopes and look great.
Similarly, the main entrance is another spot where the designer's genius is on display. Setting everything at an angle is challenging enough, but to then add such a creative build on top with the pillars, the aforementioned birds, and the roof peak are so well done.
You mentioned angles, and that's another theme of this build. Like the Lion Knight's castle, there are some quirky angles, especially on either side of the river. The way they use snot techniques to integrate the stone pathways with the bridge is incredible.
And let's not forget that octagonal tower. I've built angled towers and they are tough. The bordering around the statues is very complicated, and the technique used to secure the top of the tower to the bottom gave me some ideas for how to be a better builder. What else did I miss?
How about the chairs for the council? Hot dogs and popsicle pieces? The interlocking bricks toward the top of the tower? The cypress tree? The statue where the shards of Narsil are displayed? The waterfall? The armory entrance? The stairs leading up to the gazebo that looks so natural? We don't have time to delve too deeply into all those builds, but suffice it to say, there are a lot of incredible techniques here. Were there any spots where the build dragged on or was a bit tedious?
Good question. The trees were a bit tedious, and the blocky nature of the council ring tree trunk doesn't sit right with me, but there were so many times during the build when I just sat back and admired what the instructions were telling me to do.
So we come to our third and final important thing about this set. It is definitely worth $500.
Yeah, the pieces, like the bricks, the tiles, the plates, everything you get, it's bolstered by new molds like the new fern piece, hair pieces, accessories, and more. There's so much to this for the $500.
Even though we think it's worth $500, I have one more question.
Okay.
Does it have to be this expensive?
That's a great question. I think at this price point, scale, and size, the mentality from the set designers was go big or go home. After all, it'd been 10 years since we received any Lego sets about Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and so they felt the need to really make this an impressive, massive set. But there were no expectations for a large Lord of the Rings direct-to-consumer set, so they could have done something smaller, yet still impressive.
What could that have looked like?
Well, the set designers in an interview mentioned how they wanted to do justice to the Council of Elrond, so why not do something focused primarily, or maybe only, on that? So in 2012, they released a $20 Council of Elrond set that didn't have much detail, and you got a couple of nice minifigs like Elrond and Arwen, but certainly wasn't the whole Fellowship of the Ring. So this could look like getting rid of the tower section, the gazebo over here, and leaving this middle section. And that might reduce the total piece count to about 3,000 to 3,500 pieces and get rid of 5 of the statues that are in the tower section.
So it becomes about a $300 set and includes all the Fellowship.
Exactly, and I think it becomes a bit more accessible to Lego fans, even Lord of the Rings fans, at that price.
There you have it, our biggest takeaways from Rivendell, and our suggestion of how Lego could have made it more accessible to more fans. Check out this video if you want to see our review of another massive Lego set. Thanks for watching, and always remember to keep building together. But it's the building techniques that really make those details pop.
Exactly, and that's why the second... You did a great job, I don't know why I'm laughing.